Just wanted to touch base with you and continue our week-long series on Holy Week and what's going on. And just want to start today by just giving you some reminders of what's going on here at the church and just let everybody know that's listening that you are invited, and we would love to have you to be a part of our family during the Holy Week activities. So, the first service of the week, aside from Palm Sunday, of course, is going to happen tomorrow night. It's here at the church at 6 o'clock, and that is our Maundy Thursday service. We're going to talk a little bit more about Maundy Thursday, what that means, and everything that happened. We'll be doing that tomorrow. But that service starts at 6. It's here at the church, and all is welcome. We are going to have a Seder dinner, and as we've been talking about, don't come with a hungry belly, because the Seder dinner is not a full course meal, but more of a symbolistic meal that took place during Bible times, and it takes place even nowadays, 1400 years later, by the Jews, but it's a symbolic meal. And we're going to just talk about those symbols, what they mean, and why the Jewish people do what they do for the Seder dinner, for the Passover meal, and things like that. We're also going to have foot washing, and I've been telling everybody foot washing is something that people really shy away from, and we'd love for you to be a part. But if you don't want to take off your socks and shoes and have your feet washed, that's absolutely fine. You can still come and just see the experience and see the meaning of it and partake in that. You can come to the Seder dinner and then bail out if you don't want to be a part of foot washing. Then on Good Friday, this coming Friday at 5 p.m., we are going to show the Passion of the Christ here. We'll have some drinks available, probably not refreshments, but we are going to show the Passion in the main sanctuary. Also, if you have young children, we believe that the Passion maybe is a little bit graphic for the young people, so we have some activities planned for the young people. We've got a movie and maybe some crafts and things like that for them. That starts at 5 p.m. Saturday morning, we are going to have what has become our annual community Easter egg hunt. That starts at noon. If you're interested in coming, please bring your kiddos. There's going to be plenty of eggs. We've been working on eggs for a couple weeks now. And shame on me, I'll turn that down to do not disturb. Sorry about that. Anyhow, Saturday at noon, bring your young people out. We've got different areas for different age groups so that everybody has an opportunity. Just a way for us to just celebrate our community and let you know that we are glad that we're all part of the community family. So that's Saturday at noon. Then Sunday, Easter Sunday, we're going to start the day off with a non-traditional sunrise service, because we're not going to meet at sunrise, but we are going to have a sunrise service that starts at 8:30. Pastor Deanna is going to bring a word.
Yeah.
Very short service. At 9 o'clock, we are going to have breakfast, and Pastor D and Pastor B and our spouses, we're preparing that breakfast. We're going to serve that breakfast just as a way to say thank you to the congregation, to our family, and to our community. So there again, you're all welcome. And then at 10:15, we'll have our regular morning worship service, and I'm going to bring an Easter word. So a lot going on, and we just want to say, hey, it doesn't matter if you've ever been to the church. It doesn't matter if you don't even realize where we're at, but you're seeing this live. Give us a call, get some directions, whatever. We would love to see you. You can call the church here. You can call my cell, which is 260-433-4404, or
you can call or text me at 260-348-2561.
All right. We'd love to see you. Appreciate you joining in today. And if you are going to come to one of those services, we have some pages on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Hit like or interested or I'm going, or you can tell right now by listening that I'm not a big Facebookie, but there is somewhere there that you can click something that says that you're going to be a part, and that'll help us plan. So
Absolutely.
today we're talking about Passover.
I'm excited.
The most important by far holiday in the Jewish faith. In the Hebrew, the term is Pesach, which simply means Passover. A lot of people also call this the Festival of the Unleavened Bread.
Yep.
So before we talk about the actual holiday Passover, let's talk about the Festival of the Unleavened Bread. Let's talk about the unleavened bread itself. And that's pretty interesting. There's some things about that. There is a reference to leaven or yeast
Yep.
being considered sin in 1 Corinthians. And I had a hard time for a lot of years trying to figure out how yeast and sin all came together.
Yeah.
But then I was just sitting there one day, we're a bread family.
Oh, yes.
I can remember going to Grandpa and Grandma's, and Grandma made a loaf of bread just about every other day. And I can just remember Grandpa always figured out when the bread was going to be ready, and he figured out how to be at home and how to have that soft butter there so when that bread came out. And so then, my mom made bread, and I was the guy, I took shop class and home ec so that I could learn to cook. So I used to bake my own bread, and I got to thinking about the idea of once you put yeast in something, it just grows and grows and grows, and there's no way to get it out.
Nope.
I can remember one time my mom taught me to take a bowl of bread dough and set it on the register and put a damp towel over it to let it rise a little bit. And then I went and I got a shower and I was doing this and doing that. And the next thing I know, I had like one of those big giant exercise balls, and there was just no coming back from it.
No.
And so, the idea of yeast or leaven being sin and the way that it just consumes you,
Saturates your life.
it really makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know you have some thoughts on that.
I do. I'm super excited just to be talking about Passover in general. I think it's one of the coolest things in the Old Testament and the way that it carries forward. It's definitely in the New Testament it talks about yeast, and Paul talks about it being a sin in our life that just works its way through the dough. And like you were saying with bread, when my kids were a little younger and sort of self-sufficient, we had some time where I was at home and I'd make bread. And you put your yeast in hot water and it just instantly starts to react, and it affects each part of that bread in a chemical and a physical way. And it's a lot like what sin does in our life. It starts to affect all the things around us in ways that we don't see. And much like the yeast in the bread, there's not a way for us to fix that on our own.
One of the other traditions or beliefs that we find back in Exodus when we look at the Passover story and the Exodus of the Israelites out of Egypt, and they talk about how when it was time for them to flee Egypt, they had to go right now.
Yep.
The opportunity was there. They weren't sure that they were ever going to get that opportunity. So when the time came, they were bolting.
Yeah.
And the tradition has it that they left so fast that they just peeled the bread off of whatever they were using to cook it so that they could get out of Dodge.
Yep.
And that bread did not have a chance to rise and be bread like what we think of bread. And so a tradition has become that they don't put the leavening agent in it to be authentic as to back when their ancestors fled Egypt, and their bread was just like what you and I probably think of more as a cracker than a piece of bread.
Yeah.
A big part of the Jewish tradition at Passover time, it's actually, like I said, called the Feast of the Unleavened Bread. And long before Passover starts, one of the biggest chores that the Jewish homes have is cleaning their homes and making sure that all of the yeast,
Yes.
all of the leavening
Yep.
is out of their home, and it's a serious deal. The whole family takes part. They move everything, they clean everything, and there again, the thing is, they're thinking they've got to look in every nook and every
Yes.
cranny to get all of that yeast, all of that sin out of their home and away from their bodies, just like we need to look at every nook and cranny of our bodies and our souls to make sure that there's no sin in our life. Because after all, our goal as Christians to be
Yeah.
Christ-like is for there to be absolutely no sin in our lives whatsoever. So this whole getting rid of the yeast and everything really, really is a big deal.
Yeah, David hit the nail on the head. Search my heart.
Absolutely.
Seek out the ways that aren't mine, not yours, and absolutely hit it on the head.
They take this serious to the point that everything that they've used to clean their homes to get rid of the yeast, their clothes that they were wearing when they cleaned their homes to get rid of the yeast, everything that had anything to do, then they take that and they burn that. Because the symbolism in the Bible is when once you burn something, it can't return. It's gone. There's no way to bring that back. So just a very serious part of Passover. Anyhow, just wanted to share that. I think that's kind of a neat thing, and Deanna and I have talked about it before. So,
Yeah.
Okay, Passover.
I love Passover. It's one of my favorites. Where are we starting? Just with the story?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this whole tradition sort of started, not sort of, it definitely started back in Egypt while the Israelites were slaves there. And that story is how they became slaves is very interesting also, but another day. And so Moses has come back to Egypt to talk with the Pharaoh, convince him to let the Israelites go. And Pharaoh's just not having any part of it. He's got free labor. It's working pretty good for him. He can drive them as hard as he wants to. So God starts to send plagues to kind of twist the arm of Pharaoh, get him to loosen up and let the Israelites go. And he sends a series of 10 plagues, and the final plague is the death of the firstborn. And so what will happen is that, I don't remember if it says spirit or angel of death, something
Angel of death, yes.
something along those lines, and is going to walk through Egypt and through the Israelites' area, which, if I remember correctly, was kind of separate from where all the Egyptians lived, and that the firstborn of everything, whether it was human or animal, whatever it was, that firstborn was going to die. And so God told Moses to tell the Israelites that they should take a unblemished firstborn lamb and take a little brush made out of a plant and brush it over their doorposts and the top of their door. And when the angel of death came, he would pass over that door because the blood was there. And so the name literally comes from the angel passing over their house.
It's interesting that the Bible specifically told the Israelites to use an unblemished virgin lamb and to shed its blood to cover their sin and protect them from death.
Yeah.
Because as we get into the New Testament, as we celebrate Easter,
absolutely,
Jesus Christ is referred to so many times as the Lamb of God, the unblemished Son of Man. And then he died on a cross. His blood was shed to save you and I from the sins of our life. So, Old Testament, New Testament, the stories there, and it's incredible.
Just a continuation right from the beginning all the way through the build up to the birth and life of Jesus. And that's one of the reasons I get so excited about the Passover, because connection is so real. It's not just like a story that we tell in Sunday school and then, well, it doesn't really mean anything now, but it does. The word says, there's without the shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness of sin. And in every place that it tells the Israelites how to make sacrifices, it's always so important that they say this animal has to be unblemished. It has to be without problems, no health problems, no spotting on its fur, its coat, So,
And this story, by the way, you can find this in the book of Exodus, back in the Old Testament. And then as you're looking at the Easter story, and if you're interested in wanting to compare the two stories, you can find the Easter story in all four of the Gospels in the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So those are places where you can go.
yeah. I think we might have hit a lot of the stuff.
So God told Moses to get the people to mark their doors with the lamb's blood, and if they did that, then the angel of darkness would pass them.
Yeah, and even as he passes over there, Pharaoh is awakened in his own home, and his own son has passed, and that is what prompts him to tell Moses, you know what, I'm done with these people, get them out. And as Pastor Bill was saying, they left in a hurry, and it's a good thing that they did, because it wasn't long after they got out that he was hot on their tails to come catch him.
And the thing, I love to read the Bible, and then my mind just kind of floats, and I have those squirrel moments, but they're good squirrel moments.
Yeah.
And just think about that. And, I've been strong-willed in my life, and there's been a lot of things that no matter what you did or no matter how you tried to convince me, it is what it is, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But then I think about my own children, and I think about Crystal and Kelsey when they were young and stuff, and it's like there were things that could not convince me otherwise because I was set in my ways. But then when I would stop and think about how that would affect my family and affect my girls, all of a sudden my life changed, and changed pretty quickly. And that's kind of where Pharaoh was at. He went through all these plagues, and it didn't matter how bad it was. He had his mindset, and he was going to do what he was going to do. But then when it hit home and when it came to his own child, all of a sudden things became very different. And I think that's something that, you and I can feel nowadays. We don't need to go back to the New Testament, or the Old Testament, I'm sorry. One of the things that I thought was interesting, too, as we studied for the Passover message and everything, in history records that on that first Passover night, there was over 200,000 lambs that were sacrificed for their blood. And just like I said, Passover, such a significant holiday in the life of the Jewish people. And it's exciting as we've dedicated this year to not just reading the Bible and not just telling people about what other people believe, but actually getting into the Bible and searching why did they do what they did? Why did they say what they said? And as we get into this Holy Week and this Passover, how much meaning there is that is not just thousands and thousands of years old, but it's things that make us stop and think about our lives, our commitment to Jesus Christ, and makes us just sit back and kind of check ourselves as well. So
and how foretelling,
Absolutely.
How foretelling for so many years earlier. So many years.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of Passover in a nutshell. I'm sure that if you're one of our Jewish friends that is tuning in, we might not have done it quite justice, but just wanted to kind of give you an overview and let you know what was going on in the week of Jesus leading up to his death and resurrection. And just want to say one more time, a lot of things going on this year. Pastor Deanna and I have tried to stack the deck to just help everybody understand and be educated and realize why we do what we do and why things are the way they are and why the Bible says what it says. So, if you're interested in something that's coming up this week, we would love to see you.
Absolutely.
And as far as that goes, I kind of take pride in our church that we're not just a traditional church. You don't have to come with a suit and tie, and you don't have to say certain things or sing certain things. Come as you are. There's a church in town. I'm kind of jealous because I wanted our sign to say, come here because it's okay not to be okay, because that
Absolutely.
really is us. But
Yep.
you know, they took that, so I'm going to let that
They beat
be.
us to
But
the punch.
I invite you. You know, any Sunday we meet every Sunday at
Yeah.
10:15, and it doesn't have to be in Easter Sunday. You're welcome here anytime. And for those of you that have maybe experienced church and you say, well, you know, that's really kind of not for me, I would challenge you to come here one Sunday
Yeah.
and just see what's going on, because just not your traditional church. We just love to love on people. We love to add value to people's lives. And we just like to be human here. We don't try and be something that we're not. So anyhow, hope you're having a great week. Hope you continue to have a great week. I know that if you're tuning in to us here in Fort Wayne, the weatherman says that things are not going to be very friendly for us today. So, you know, stay safe. Try and stay dry. Don't know that that's going to happen, but just hope you have a great day, and God bless you. Take care.
Have a great day, guys. We look so forward to seeing you. Don't forget to join us, as Pastor Bill said, throughout the rest of the week, both here on Facebook at noon and in person at tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday for the Easter egg hunt, and Sunday morning.
Easter egg hunt. Multitudes of chocolate.
Yes. Yes.